Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. My name is Honorine, and today I'm with Lindsi Allman, who is pursuing a PhD in geology. Lindsi, welcome and thank you for being with me today.
Yes, so my name is Lindsi, and I'm working on my PhD in geology. I actually got both my undergraduate degree and my master's here at FSU as well. And I'm from Tallahassee too, so I've been here since I was born. And I really enjoy Tallahassee. So I study geology, so basically I look at rocks, which is really cool. So I get to spend some time in the field. And what my specific project is on is one of the hot topics in geology right now is mass extinctions. They're pretty neat, obviously, and kind of sad. But especially thinking about how we're thinking about climate change and current climate change, we want to look in the past and see what was going on. And with a lot of massive extinctions, there's these things called large igneous provinces, which are basically like giant volcanoes, but they're like these huge things called mantle plumes, where a bunch of like magma comes up and gets deposited on the surface of the earth. And obviously that's going to cause a lot of gases and things from inside the earth to be released up into the atmosphere and cause climate change. And so since a lot of these events are associated with extinction events, I kind of want to look at maybe how that happens and how that link works. And the way we're doing that is seeing if aside from just the volcanic material being deposited up on the earth, also if the magma hitting sediment may release carbon or sulfur or other gases. And so actually the sediment getting kind of heated up could also cause some of this. And if that could be why some of these things or some of these large igneous provinces are associated with extinctions and some aren't. And what is really cool and kind of how I ended up staying at FSU for my PhD is I did my master's on an extinction event. And then I also really am kind of passionate about Florida geology, and I worked for a semester and interned for most of my geology degrees at the Florida Geologic Survey. And a new professor here, Emily Stewart, is actually working on this kind of metamorphic release of carbon and in Florida rocks. So some really deep drill cores that they have at the Florida Geologic Survey, or FGS. And so I'm getting to actually look at Florida rocks and do these big things. Also, I played ultimate Frisbee here at FSU for my undergrad, and through my master's. I got some extended eligibility because of COVID, and currently I coach the team, and I really enjoy that. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I think it's all about me. My family is all from Tallahassee, so that's pretty neat too. I get to spend time with my grandma and my grandpa a lot and enjoy that.
Fascinating. I really enjoy your research. I mean, hearing you talking about your research. If you could explain, in simple terms, I guess, what is geology in general?
Geology is the study of rocks in general. And there's a tons of different ways you can go about that. Some people look really closely at individual crystals. Some people study mass extinction. Some people study dinosaurs. Some people study groundwater. And what I was saying before was Florida rocks. So rocks from Florida. And usually people don't study Florida rocks a lot because they're a lot newer than rocks other places, unless you go really deep, and those rocks are generally pretty hard to get to. And so and especially being from Tallahassee, that's why I really think Florida rocks are kind of underappreciated. But of course, people who study groundwater study Florida rocks a lot because it's a good place with lots of water underground, some of the best water, I think. So.
And is Florida rocks your specialty?
Not necessarily. I did my master's looking at rocks from Prague, and then I kind of more study if we can find a certain event preserved somewhere. And so it just happens to be that we have this event, this mass extinction event, and this volcanic rock preserved in Florida. And so it's a good place to look at it. But I did work for the Florida Geologic Survey for a while, looking at Florida rocks from different time periods. So I know a little bit about Florida rocks from that as
Cool.
well.
That's awesome. And you went recently, maybe not so recent, to Canada for research. Can you tell me more about that?
So we're actually getting samples for a project that I'm sort of, my lab mates are working on. And we were collecting samples, and it again looking at kind of decarbonation from metamorphic reactions, and there's some very, very old rocks in Canada that are preserved. And so we went up there to go collect them and kind of scout out maybe what my advisor wants to collect in the future. But that trip was a whole lot of fun.
So how did you fund that trip?
My advisor paid for it. She's brand new, so.
Oh, so you were basically her assistant. It was not like
Yes.
your research trip where you find your own funding and stuff like that.
So yes, it's one of her new projects she's starting up. But what was really cool about it is I'm her first student. And it was me, her, and then two of our undergrads went too, and they were both women too. So it was an all women field experience, which I think is the first one she had said she'd ever been on that was all female, and the same with me. So it was really cool to, and we were like hammering out rocks and carrying big things, and so it felt really powerful to not.
Great. And how did you start playing ultimate frisbee?
I played soccer in high school, and when I got to college, I really missed a team sport. And my best friend was like, "Oh, you're not going to make the club soccer team. You should come out and try ultimate frisbee instead." And I thought it was going to be this silly like disc golf thing, and we were just going to like throw frisbees around. But it turned out to be this really serious like team sport, and I got really into it. Super into. I'm going to try out for a professional team this coming up this winter, so that's exciting too. But I love it so much, and it's a really great way to like have good friends in a team sort of that have your back and support you, and kind of an outlet to help with work-life balance, and people I can always go talk to. And a good amount of grad students play, and so even coaching, there's some grad students that play and will hang out and talk. And I got a lot of advice back when I was an undergrad from the grad students playing. One of them was a PhD student, and I still will ask them, like call them and ask them questions. They're professors now. I'm like, how do I do this? What should I do? And so it's really great.
So you can still be a part of the team although you are a graduate student, or how come they were playing but you said you were not eligible anymore to play?
So for sports clubs for FSU, I believe you can indefinitely play, but for the USA Ultimate, they only allow you 5 years of college eligibility. So that way that, since Ultimate's a sport that people pick up later in life, you don't end up getting people who just play forever and then are kind of like crushing the young kids who are just learning. So I used all 5 of my years, and then COVID happened. And so they tacked on 2 extra. So I got to play 7 years because of COVID. We actually went to nationals twice last year. So we went in the fall and in the spring, which was only the second and third time in FSU history that the women's team has made nationals.
Wow, congrats. So you have like, it's an all year season?
Yes, there's a preseason in the fall. And then the real season happens in the spring, though that fall they had a fall season as well to make up for the one missed for COVID. So
I see.
Some extra frisbee in there. Yeah.
For my last question, how do you see yourself in 5 years from today?
So 5 years, I'm hoping to have just graduated or kind of close like probably graduated around that time. I'm hoping to do a postdoc somewhere cool. I've lived in Tallahassee my whole life, so I think it's time I should branch out and go somewhere neat, maybe with a really good, cool Frisbee community would be nice. And you know, just kind of studying rocks. I hope to discover something neat, but I think everyone hopes that. But you know, something cool, contribute to science, and also I really want to be a good teacher. That's one thing that I really enjoy.
So you want to stay, you want to be a professor in the future?
Yes, as of now, yes. But I'm just starting out, so we'll see.
Yeah, there's still time. All right. Well, thank you so much. It was great to get to know you better, hear more about geology and the rocks and the Frisbee, your passion for Frisbee.